Good morning, folks. My name is Hitzemann, County Court Judge here in Hernando County. You folks are here for your first appearance. Purpose of the first appearance is so that you may be informed of the charges against you. I'll determine if there's probable cause for those charges. Probable cause simply means that it's more likely than not that a crime has occurred, and more likely than not that you're the person who's committed that crime. Of course, as you stand before me this morning, I presume that you're innocent to these allegations. That presumption of innocence will stay with you through every stage of the proceedings, unless and until the State Attorney's Office is able to prove the allegations against you beyond and to the exclusion of a reasonable doubt. We will set your conditions of pretrial release this afternoon. That is your bail or your bond. In most cases, you've got a bond set already pursuant to the bond schedule here in the 5th Judicial Circuit, or the warrant which led to your arrest. I'll determine if that bond should be raised or lowered or left the same, or whether there will be additional conditions of pretrial release placed upon you. We'll let you know when your next court date will be. If you'd like to have the services of the public defender, I'll gladly appoint the PD to represent you this morning. You do have the right to have contact with folks on the outside, family, friends, counsel. If you have not had a chance to make that call, please let me know. We'll make sure that that happens. Finally, and most importantly, you have an absolute right to remain silent with regard to the facts which surround your arrest. I encourage you to do that. These proceedings are recorded. In addition, there is an assistant state attorney in the courtroom with me. If you say something that tends to incriminate you, they will use it against you in the prosecution down the road. I now need each and every one of you there at the jail to please raise your right hands and be sworn. Y'all solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth? Outstanding. When I call your name, please step forward to the podium. Laswa Howard. Ms. Howard, what's your date of birth?
March 18th, 1992.
You're here on a charge of organized fraud. There's probable cause for the charge. As to that charge, you want to represent yourself. You want to hire private counsel. Would you like the public defender?
A public defender.
I'll appoint the PD. State what you tell me.
Your Honor, the only thing I show is from 2011 and no valid driver's license.
Okay. Ms. Howard, I have an address for you on Essex Lane in Spring Hill. Is that where you live?
Yes, sir.
How long have you been there?
2 years.
All right. Do you have a job these days?
No.
Okay. I'm going to set your bond to $1,000. I'll have you back in court on the 8th of January. Very important that you contact the public defender when you get out, all right?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Angelica McQuaid. Ms. McQuaid, what's your date of birth?
8/2/92.
Ms. McQuaid, you're here on a warrant signed by Judge Merritt. Apparently you failed to appear in his court on a felony driving on suspended license charge. And it looks like you also have other open felonies. As to this charge, Ms. McQuaid, you want to represent yourself. You're going to hire private counsel. Would you like the public defender?
Private.
Okay. And did you guys see this? You have something else open?
Your Honor, there are 2 cases that are open.
I just need to know where they're at.
They're in front of Judge Merritt, but I don't have a date written.
Okay. Clerk friends. Yep. This one is, what's this one? This one is $16.99. There should be a $21.80 someplace.
2180 looks like she failed to appear on
Oh,
Yesterday? Or no, Tuesday.
okay.
And his next court date is the one. After the warrant on the 2180 also.
Okay. So that one hasn't been served yet. Okay. All right. So Ms. McQuaid, the bond on this warrant is no bond. I'm going to leave it there because that would be appropriate given your situation. This is coming back on the 8th of January. My guess is that the friends at the jail are going to check again and find another warrant for you from earlier this week, and you may be back at first appearance tomorrow on that one. But make sure that when you contact your private counsel, they know about that court date on the 8th of January, all right?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Brian Bamer. Want to sir, what's your date of birth?
10/12/77.
You're here on a warrant signed by Judge Toner. He found probable cause for a violation of probation. As to that charge, You wish to represent yourself. You're going to hire private counsel. Would you like me to appoint the public defender?
Public defender, Your Honor.
I'll appoint the PD. Bond on that warrant is no bond. I can't change that. I'm going to change your date. I'll have you back on the 4th of January. They told you the 8th. The right date is the 4th, and the public defender will come see you before then, okay?
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Logan Brown? Morning, Logan. What's your date of birth?
March 18th, 1996.
We're going to get 2 charges today, carrying a concealed firearm and driving on a suspended license. As to those charges, you're going to represent yourself. You're going to hire private counsel. Would you like the public defender?
Public defender.
I'll appoint the public defender. State.
Your Honor, in 2014 there was a failure to appear, and then in 2015 there was driving on a suspended license, which looks like originated as a felony but became a misdemeanor. And that's all I have.
And Logan, I've got an address for you in Denver. Is that where you live?
Yes, sir. I have a valid Colorado driver's license.
Well, whoa, stop right there. It doesn't change a thing as far as Florida is concerned, because your right to drive in Florida has certainly been suspended based on looking at your driving record here, and the allegation is that you were driving in Florida. So you'll have to talk to a lawyer about that. Why were you in Hernando County yesterday if you live in Colorado?
I used to live here. I was visiting family for Christmas.
Oh, well, there you go. All right. On the concealed, I'll set the bond at $1,000. On the license, I'll leave that at $500. Your total is $1,500. I'll have you back in court on, pardon me, on the 8th of January. Make sure you contact the PD when you get out, okay?
Yes, sir.
Yep. Corey Cox. Morning, sir. What's your date of birth?
4:39, sir.
All right, Corey, you're here on a warrant that I signed. I found probable cause for 2 charges, burglary to a structure and grand theft. Well, you're already in DOC, aren't you?
And,
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
Yep. Okay.
and
All
Your
right.
Honor, for the record, the state no imposed a burglary charge yesterday, but did file an information on the grand theft charge.
Okay, so that's still pending.
Yes.
Looks like he's got something else pending on the 21st of this month.
That's an arraignment. He was transported back from DOC for that.
Okay. All right, so the burglary's already gone.
Yes.
So what we're going to do, Corey, the burglary's on this warrant. I'm going to call it an ROR. I'm going to call the grand theft at $2,000. Of course, those bond amounts don't mean much to you because you can't bond out anyway. I will move this to the 21st of December, where your other case is. We'll get these things wrapped up and get you back on your way. Okay?
It's the same case, Your Honor.
I believe it is, Your Honor. I'm only aware of one. We set an arraignment and transported him back, and then he came to first appearance, and
Then why is he here?
because we transported him back, so warrant was executed.
Okay. All right, just the grand theft, and you'll be in court on the 21st, all right?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
Michael Cunningham. Well, sir, what's your date of birth?
8364.
And Michael, this is a probable cause arrest for violation of probation. There is probable cause for the VOP. As to that charge, you wish to represent yourself. You're going to hire private counsel. Would you like the public defender?
Public defender, Your Honor.
I'll appoint the PD. Bond, of course, will be no bond. I'll change the date on this one, too, to the 4th of January. Looks like you got something there already. Public defender will come see you before you go to court again, okay?
Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
Yep. Christopher DeManch. Christopher, what's your date of birth?
4/28/82.
Christopher, the charge is battery. There's probable cause for the charge. As to that charge, you want to represent yourself. You want to hire private counsel. Would you like the public defender?
Represent myself.
Okay, state.
Your Honor, in 2014, he had a failure to appear out of Pinellas County on a driving on a suspended. And then in New Hampshire, it looks like in 2004, he violated terms of probation or parole on, doesn't have an indication as to what that charge was. In 2000, it's probably where we're talking about, is the death by unauthorized taking. 2004, criminal mischief. And that's what we have.
Okay. And Christopher, I have an address for you on Sandy Drive in Brooksville. Is that where you live?
Yes.
And is that where Mr. Heckman lives too?
Yes.
Okay. You have a job these days?
Yes.
What do you do?
Phrase pest control?
Okay. Christopher, I'll set your bond at $500. Condition of that bond is that while this charge is pending, you won't have any contact with Mr. Heckman. No contact means no contact of any kind. You don't call, you don't write, you don't email, you don't text message, you don't contact him through any social media. You don't have a third person contact him. Don't go where he lives, don't go where he works, don't have any contact of any kind. Any way that you might imagine contacting him, I forbid you to do that. If you have contact and we find out about it, your bond can be revoked and you can be held without bond until the charges are resolved. It means no contact even if he wants the contact, so if you answer your phone and hear his voice, you should hang up. If you're out and about and see him, you should turn around and run the other way. You need to understand that he cannot drop the charges against you. That's not a decision he gets to make. It's conceivable that he would go to the state attorney's office and ask them to drop the charges, tell them he's not interested in pursuing this matter, but that decision belongs solely to the assistant state attorney handling your case. So unless that person or the judge in your case tells you the charges are dropped, you should assume they're not dropped and you should not have contact. What that means, of course, is as far as the Sandy Drive address, as long as Mr. Heckman stays there, you'll have to find someplace else to stay till we get this case resolved. You can go by one time to collect your clothes, your toothbrush, whatever you need, wherever you plan to go, but to do that, you must contact the sheriff's office first. They'll meet you there with a deputy who'll stand by while you pick up your things and get going where you're going. I'll have you back in court on the 9th of January, all right?
Your Honor, can I ask a question?
Sure can.
Last night they told me it was just domestic violence.
Well, they told you domestic battery. I don't think it's a domestic case because I don't think you're in a relationship with Mr. Heckman, and I don't think he's a relative of yours.
Yeah.
Okay? He's a roommate, right?
True, yes.
Okay, so it's not domestic, but it's still a battery.
Okay.
So,
Without even hitting him? You know, all I did was push him.
See, I tell people they have a right to remain silent. Unfortunately, they frequently don't have the ability to remain silent. Pushing someone is a battery, which you've now admitted to under oath, but we'll go from there anyway. I'll leave the bond at the $500, like I said. You'll be back on the 9th of January, okay?
Yeah.
Thank you. At least it's not yours, right?
It is mine.
It's not yours.
Oh, thank you.
So that admission is not your problem. Richard Lightcap,
Yes.
want to throw what's your date of birth?
12/21/64.
Richard, you had a warrant that was signed by Judge Rupi. Apparently you failed to appear in court yesterday on a charge of battery. As to that charge, you want to represent yourself. You want to hire private counsel. Would you like the public defender?
I have a PD issued to.
Okay. You want to continue with the PD? And then any other history state?
Your Honor, in 2007, he had an aggravated battery that was reduced to a simple battery. And that's all I'm showing.
Okay. All right. So, Richard, I'm going to leave the bond for Judge Rupi's warrant, which is $2,000. The no contact order that she gave you when you had your first appearance originally still is in full force and effect. I'll have you back in court on the 9th of January. If you get out, you should contact the PD right away so they can help you out, okay? Thank you. Victor Madison? Just hang on. We'll get to you. Mr. Madison, what's your date of birth?
3/20/1977.
Mr. Madison, the charge is driving under the influence. There's probable cause for the charge. As to that charge, you want to represent yourself. You want to hire private counsel. Would you like me to appoint the public defender?
Public defender.
I'll appoint the PD. State what you tell me.
Your Honor, in 2010, he had a violation of probation on a misdemeanor charge. In 2009, he had a possession of paraphernalia, and then there were felony charges that were dropped in regards to that. There's also, it looks like he has some history out of Illinois. Most of it did not have any type of disposition on it. Those were from the 90s, 94 to 96. There was something in 1997, which was out of Cook County. Looks like possibly an unlawful possession of a weapon by a felon, carrying a concealed firearm in public, and looks like he was sentenced to prison in Illinois for those charges.
Okay. And Victor, I've got an address for you on Alpine Thistle Drive in Brooksville. Is that where you live?
Yes, sir.
How long have you been there?
2 and almost 3 years now.
Okay. You got a job these days?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And young lady, who are you?
I'm his fiance. I'm ready to pay his bill.
Okay.
I've been waiting all day. They told me to just talk to you about it and see if there's anything that I can do to help get him out.
Okay.
Or reduce his bond just a little bit.
I'm reducing it. I'll set your bond, Victor, at $500.
Thank you so
I'll have you
much.
back in court on the 9th of January. Make sure you contact the Public Defender's Office when you get out, all right?
All right.
All right, thank you, Victor.
Judge, for some reason, she had the money to post 1,000. They said they weren't going to
They
let her.
would not let me bond him out.
Okay.
Okay, but not, it's not my issue. It's a jail issue, so
I didn't know.
I don't know why.
I didn't know if there's a warrant outstanding.
No, you bet. Marcus Morgan. We're making Morning, Marcus. What's your date of birth?
537-6.
Marcus, I got 6 counts this morning. 2 counts possession of controlled substance, 1 count possession of cocaine, 1 count possession of marijuana with intent, 1 count possession of marijuana, 1 count possession of drug paraphernalia. There's probable cause for those charges. As for those charges, you want to represent yourself. You're going to hire private counsel. Would you like me to appoint the public defender?
I'm appointed public defender. I have no way of getting a lawyer right now.
I'll appoint the PD for now. State what you can tell me.
Your Honor, he has a pretty long history. In 2011, he was in prison and was released in possibly 2014, it looks like. And that was from looks like a charge out of Hillsborough County of grand theft, fraudulent use of a credit card, trafficking in cocaine, conspiracy to commit trafficking or conspiracy to traffic in cocaine. He was in prison in 2007 and was for a short period, it looks like, and that was based off of a couple of violations of probation on a delivery of cocaine and a possession of cocaine from 2006. And that was July of 2006. It looks like there was a possession of cocaine and driving on a suspended license.
Okay, that's good.
Okay.
Marcus, you got an address for you on Lila Street in Tampa. Is that where you live?
Yes, sir.
How long you been there?
About 10 years.
You got a job these days?
Yes, sir.
What do you do?
Tile work.
Okay. I'm going to leave the bonds per the schedule, which is $2,000 on each of the controlled substances, $2,000 on the cocaine and the marijuana with intent, $1,000 on the marijuana and the drug paraphernalia, for a total of $9,000, $10,000, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, $10,000. We'll have you back in court on the 8th of January. Very important that you contact the public defender as you get out, all right?
Quick question, Your Honor.
Sure.
I have a warrant out of Citrus County and they're preventing me from bonding out. So what do I need to do about that?
I'll tell you what. I'm not sure what the issue with that is. I certainly read that. I can tell you if you post a bond on these, the first thing that will happen is that they'll ship you up to Citrus County to serve those warrants. If you
Well, I
can't
tried to
post a
bond
bond on these, then you're going to sit here until you're done with these cases.
Well, we tried to post a bond last night, sir, and got refused.
Okay, that's the second time I'm hearing this today. I can't imagine why the jail would not be letting people bond out or even post bonds if they can't get out. Anybody shows up with bond money, it should be accepted. So I don't have an answer for you. I don't run the jail or the sheriff's office or this court sometimes.
All right.
William Nichols? Morning, William. What's your date of birth?
8/12/81.
We've got another burglary of a construction site. There's probable cause for the charge. I think you have the PD on your other cases. Is that right?
Yep.
So we'll just appoint the PD on this, leave the bond at the schedule, which is the $5,000, and move it to January 4th, where all your other cases are. All right? Thank you. Matthew Nunes. Want to start with your date of birth?
4/28/81.
Matthew, you're here on a warrant that was signed by Judge Rupi. She found probable cause for 2 counts uttering a forged check and grand theft. As to those charges, you want to represent yourself. You're going to hire private counsel. Would you like me to appoint the public defender?
I have to get private counsel.
Very good. State.
Your Honor, in 2015, he had a possession of marijuana and driving on a suspended license. 2014, he violated his probation on possession of paraphernalia. 2006, he failed to appear. 2003, possession of marijuana. 2001, a violation of probation and a failure to appear. 2000, possession of marijuana, possession of paraphernalia. And 2000, a violation of probation. And that's all I have.
And Matthew, I have an address for you on Portillo Road in Spring Hill. Is that where you live?
Yes, sir.
How long you been there?
It's over 2 years.
All right. Do you have a job these days?
Yes, sir.
What do you do?
Cell phone towers.
Okay.
Been doing them for like 8 years.
Right. I'm going to leave your bond per the warrant, which is $2,000 on each count. That's a total of 4. I'll have you back on the 8th of January. When you speak to your attorney, make sure you tell him about that court date, okay?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Jordan Panisher. Morning, Jordan. What's your date of birth?
9/27/96.
Jordan got 3 charges today: possession of controlled substance, possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, and driving on a suspended license. There's probable cause for those charges. As to those charges, you want to represent yourself. You're going to hire private counsel. Would you like me to appoint the public defender?
For right now, PD is fine.
Appoint the PD, Steve.
Your Honor, he's currently in on a violation of probation that he was placed on, it looks like at the end of last year. I believe he was in court either yesterday or Tuesday on that violation of probation. And then that was on
Okay.
sorry?
Do you think he was in court yesterday?
He was either in court yesterday or Tuesday. I recognized the name when I saw it, and I have a note that he's on violation of probation, and it shows on the rap sheet, it shows December 11th, 2018 as a violation of probation. So,
Because the allegation is that this happened yesterday.
I see that. Well, it also says, though, that on December 11th, they were conducting surveillance. So I believe that maybe he signed the warrant on signed the PC affidavit on the 12th, but it looks like the offense occurred on December 11th.
Okay. Why would he be out at all on the 11th or the 12th if he was at a felony DOP?
If he was, because I can't remember if it was yesterday or yesterday would have been the 12th. So if he was arrested on the 12th, that would have been yesterday, or on the 11th, he would have been in court yesterday. I just don't
Looks
remember.
easy, but then it's not.
Your Honor, we have been booked in on 12/11 at,
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
we haven't booked in at 12/11 at 1931 hours.
So he's only been in jail since Tuesday. Right?
That would be correct.
Okay. Okay. Well, other than whatever that is, just what other history do we have?
Your Honor, it looks like the The violation was based off of a burglary and a grand theft from September of 2017. 2017 looks like you had another grand theft. Organized fraud, which does not show disposition. 2017 grand theft of a motor vehicle. 2017 failure to appear. Burglary.
There you go. All right. And Jordan, I had an address for you on 301 in Citra. Is that where you live?
Yeah.
How long you been there?
6 months.
You have a job these days?
Yeah, I do landscaping.
Okay. I'm going to set the bonds payment schedule, which is $5,000, $10,000, and $1,000 respectively, for a total of $16,000. Okay. What's the felony date we're working on? I'll have you back on the 4th of January. Looks like they might have told you the 8th. The right date is the 4th. If you get out, you should contact the PD right away. If you can't get out because you're on a no-bond VOP, then the PD will come see you before you go to court again, okay?
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Dakota Tenor. Want to, sir, what's your date of birth?
9/23/1989.
You're here on a warrant signed by Judge Rupi. She found probable cause for one count of felony retail theft. As to that charge, you want to represent yourself. You're going to hire a private counsel. Would you like the public defender?
Public defender, sir.
I'll appoint the PD. State.
Your Honor, there's several cases that are from Citrus County from earlier this year that do not show a disposition. I don't know if he recently resolved those and was transported in.
Maybe.
Yes, ma'am. I filed a motion.
Yep.
Okay, that's right.
They just went and picked him up, so that's why
Yes.
he's here. Are you serving a sentence on the Citrus County stuff, Dakota?
Yes, sir. I signed 30 months ago.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll get you going then.
We have him set in our system for the 21st.
21st. Yep, that's where I got him. So I'll leave the bond for the warrant, which is $5,000. I'll have you back in court on the 21st, Dakota. We'll get you out of here as quick as we can, all right? PD will come see you.
All right. Thank you.
You bet. Marcus Tillman.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Morning, Marcus. What's your date of birth?
02/06/2000.
Okay. Marcus, the first thing I have for you is a warrant signed by Judge Rupi. She found probable cause for 2 counts, burglary of a dwelling and dealing in stolen property. And then another warrant signed by Judge Rupi where she found probable cause for burglary of a structure and a grand theft. And then it appears to me, let's see, that you have an open case that's coming back as a return from PTI for controlled substance. Does that sound right, State?
I'm sorry, can you...
18 CF 1469.
Yes, he was on PTI, it looks like, for that one.
Okay. And Marcus got an address for you on Cheshire Street in Dade City. Is that where you live?
Yes, Your Honor.
How long you been there?
For 18 years, my whole life.
Okay. You have a job these days?
Yes, sir. With molding concrete, doing concrete construction.
Okay. Well, here's how this is going to work. On the warrants, I'm going to leave the bonds per the warrant, which, so on the first one, on the burglary, it's $10,000. On the dealing, it's $5,000. And we're going to move those to the 28th of December because that's where your other case is coming back. And the second warrant, same thing. That one, the bonds are $5,000 and $2,000 respectively. Also moving that to the 28th. And then because of the way the felony PTI contracts work in 18 CF 1469, I'm going to revoke your ability for pretrial release. We're going to hold you without bond on that case, so you're not going to be able to get out, Marcus. But all of your cases are coming back on the 28th of December, and the public defender will come see you before you go to court again, all right?
Your Honor, can I say something?
You sure can?
With the PTI, my mother even has the papers. We went to court for the PTI, and they told me to wait till I went back to Pasco to sign up for the PTI. And that's why I just got transported over here from Pasco so we could run it.
Well, the problem is you're a returner now. For whatever reason, if you're returned for picking up new charges, if nothing else, and the way the felony PTI contracts work, I can revoke your pretrial release, such as it is, and that's what I'm doing. So you're going to be without bond until the 28th The PD will come see you and talk to you about what your options might be, okay?
Your Honor, but I haven't ever been on PTI though.
Okay, Marcus, you're not getting bond. There are no group of
Yes,
words in the English language that you can string together that will result in you getting a bond, okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Devin Wells. What is Devin, what's your date of birth?
February 22nd of 92.
All right, Devin, you're here on a warrant signed by Judge Toner. He found probable cause for a VOP. As to that charge, you want to represent yourself, you want to hire private counsel, would you like me to appoint the public defender?
Public defender, please.
I'll appoint the PD. Bond on that, of course, is no bond. I'm going to change your date to the 4th of January. Public defender will come see you before then, all right?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Joshua Jacoby.
Mr. Honor.
Morning, Joshua. What's your date of birth?
2/6/91.
Joshua, you're here on a charge of battery being domestic in nature. Or actually, it's a warrant signed by Judge Angelitis for battery being domestic in nature. There's probable cause for that charge. As to that charge, you're going to represent yourself. You're going to hire private counsel. Would you like the public defender?
Public defender.
I'll appoint the PD. State.
Your Honor, I'm not sure when he was just released from prison, it looks like around April 7th of 2018. And that was on an aggravated assault on a law enforcement officer or firefighter. In 2016, he had a violation of probation and failure to appear. In 2016, that's where I believe we had our aggravated assault. 2016, he had also had a petty theft. In March of 2016, he had a petty theft and two petty thefts, a paraphernalia, and an introduction of contraband into a detention facility. 2014, he had a resisting an officer without violence, violation of probation, paraphernalia, and false claim to law enforcement officer. In 2013, he had a making a possession, projection, or placement of a destructive device, driving on a suspended license, and he was placed on probation, which he violated on that charge.
Okay. Joshua, I have an address here on Serene Street in Weekiwachi. Is that where you live?
Yes, sir.
How long you been there?
7 years.
You have a job these days?
No, sir. I'm on disability.
Okay.
And Your Honor, I'm sorry, there is one more thing. Out of Wisconsin, he does have a battery from 2010.
Okay. All right. I'm going to set the bond on this one at $5,000. Condition of the bond is that you have no contact with Carrie McCormick. Did you hear me explain no contact earlier?
Yes, sir.
And you understand
Yes,
that?
Your Honor. Yes, Your Honor.
All right. I have you back in court on this on the 9th of January. Very important that you contact the public defender if you get out, all right?
All right.
Thank you. Joseph Ho. Morning, Joseph. What's your date of birth?
1/16/74.
All right, Joseph, we've got 8 counts this morning. Aggravated battery on a law enforcement officer, possession of marijuana, possession of drug paraphernalia, tampering with evidence, fleeing to elude, reckless driving, resisting an officer without violence, and failed to obey a lawful order. There's probable cause for those charges. As to those charges, you're going to represent yourself. You're going to hire private counsel. Would you like the public defender?
I've got Peyton Highsop as my attorney.
You're going to get him for this one too?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then, as you just mentioned, it appears there's an open case, 18 CF 2376, currently set on the 21st, right?
Yes, sir. Is there any way I can get a bond reduction?
Oh, actually, it's going to get worse than that. Here's what's going to happen. I'm going to set bonds in these cases, but I'm going to revoke your bond in the old case because you picked up new charges. So.
I can't hear you, sir. There's kind of a lot of noise in here. I didn't hear you.
What I'm going to do is set bonds in the new case, but because you're picking up new charges while you were out on bond, I'm going to revoke your bond in the old case. That's the appropriate way to do it. So you're not going to be able to get out today because of the old case, the bond being revoked. You'll want to contact Mr. Heislop right away, tell him that you picked up a bunch of new charges and that your bond got revoked so that he can go to work on getting you out, okay?
Wow, there's no way to get a bond reduction, sir?
None. So, in any event, on the aggravated battery, I'm going to set the bond at $2,000. On the possession of marijuana,
I didn't have any of that stuff, sir.
at $1,000, on the drug paraphernalia at $1,000, and the tampering at $2,000, on the fleeing at $5,000, on the reckless driving at $1,000, on the resisting at $1,000, and on the fail to obey at $1,000. That's a total of $2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 11, 12, 13, $14,000. But then, pursuant to Florida Statute 903.0471, I'm going to revoke your bond in case number 18 CF2376. We'll hold you without bond on that case, at least until you get back to court, which is the 21st of December. I'm sending all of these to court on the 21st of December. So they'll all be together, and you should contact Mr. Heislop right away and let him know what happened, okay?
I can't make a phone call from in here.
And